I serve clients who have 25 doors. I serve clients who have over 5,000 doors. I have clients all the way in between. And there's a transition that happens for folks who have 200, 300, 400 doors and above that I think is important for your listeners to hear. And it really has to do with how you choose service providers. I'm the type of service provider who wants to be a member of your team. I'm not, if you say, hey, I'm quoting with you and 4 other people, I say, hey, I'm not interested. That's not how I play ball. I want to, it's not that you can't find the best options, but you want to build a relationship. And what I find when I reach out to someone who has 1,000 doors, someone who I look up to on LinkedIn, I've appreciated what they're doing, and I say, hey, I'd love to. And I say, hey, I'd love to, join your service team. Who's in the risk role? Who's in the insurance role? Are they serving well? Many of them say, you know what? I've had a relationship with the same person for 20 years. They take amazing care of me. They're probably not the cheapest one out there. I don't really know because I've decided to trust them. And I know that they are out for my best interest. They do find the cheapest option that they can from a quality company that has the kind of coverage that's actually going to take care of me when bad things happen. And I trust them to do that. And when I'm calling someone and wanting to work with them and they say that, I say, great, that's exactly who you should be looking for. And I think for anyone listening, as you're building your service team, yes, you want to build trust. Yes, you want the best price for your insurance. Absolutely. We all want better NOI. We all want to make sure that we're getting our investors as much money as possible and ultimately crossing those lines where we make some money too as syndicators or as investors. But we don't want to cut corners and end up in a scenario where we don't have any coverage and now we're making a cap call or worse because we, experienced a fire and weren't properly covered. So I think it's just basic business advice that I have, Vinney. And that is when you're choosing the people to work with, trust but verify. But ultimately, build a team, your accountant, your lawyers, your property managers. When you find good people, stick with them and trust them to do their job. I think that's the biggest mistake that I see investors make when they're younger, they're newer, a smaller portfolio, and that often changes for those folks who figure out how to succeed at a higher level.
So true, so true. Relationship is so huge in my books. You just hit the code. Milton Colgrove, Mr. Milton Colgrove from Dallas, Texas, my real estate attorney, has been with me 15 years. 15 years. He's seen me buying a duplex and 14 units to buy $50 to $60 million deals. And I have met him only 4 times, face to face, like having a lunch or dinner, only 4 times in 15 years. But he's overseen my everything, and buying, selling, contracts, everything. So I really respect him a lot. Same thing, I'm also going to talk about, I used to have property insurances on so many properties separately. Then I did master plan. That master plan saved money. Isn't that right? You're going to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So I'll talk about 2 things. As you get bigger, and there's no magic number. It kind of depends on your portfolio. But I tend to think somewhere in the, when you're getting up into the 500 units, although I have a client on a master policy right now that has under 100 units. So it sort of depends, all those units are in a fairly similar location. And so the insurance company was willing to take all of that on in one policy.
Into one. Got it.
It really depends, but I think master policies are something that we see with the bigger investors out there. And there's nothing more to it than what you already said, Vinney. It saves you a lot of money to put everything together and leverage the size of your properties or portfolio. It also saves a lot of headache. So when you're picking up, you have a master policy. So I imagine when you're picking up a new property, you simply contact your insurance advisor, tell them what it is, and they just add it to the master policy and send out all the certificates necessary for lending. It's very easy for you. It's easy for your insurance agency, and it makes things just more streamlined, more clean, and more clear. So master policies are going away. We're seeing a lot of companies not want to take on much risk though. So, sometimes we see them even getting broken up because the insurance company on the other side is saying, well, how much risk do I take on? If you have 11 properties in Houston, Texas, $150 million of risk they're taking, they may say, I don't want to take that much risk. I want to take less. And so you need to understand that. But there's another thing that I do with some of my largest investors called captive insurance. Vinney, have you ever looked into captive insurance at all?
No, not at all. Maybe explain, maybe I might come across. Yeah.
So this is a concept that used to be really just for the largest companies, period, Fortune 500 companies. And the basic premise is.
Hi, you are listening to Syndication Made Easy podcast. We will be right back after this short break.
Hi, thank you so much. This is Vinney Chopra, and thank you for subscribing to my podcast and YouTube channel and Facebook pages and all the great things, and LinkedIn. Connect with me. I come live to you every Friday at 9:30 Pacific with Vinney and Bo show. Please also look at that. And also the podcast, which is my Apartment Syndication Made Easy. The book I wrote a couple of years back became international top seller on Amazon International now. And then we like to bring great guests for you every week or twice a week sometime to give you a lot of great knowledge. So please subscribe. You give us 5-star reviews on the iTunes. The better the guests we can bring, and our ranking will go higher also. Thanks again for following us and really getting the most out of it. Please comment, like, share, because we would love to bring better and better material for you.
And the basic premise is you start your own insurance company. You say,
I've been approached that.
Yes. Like, why would I pay all my premiums to someone else if I could do it myself? And so for large Fortune 500 companies, they used to have to go offshore to do this and create a company in Bermuda or something. And then, you have this whole scenario. Well, it's really been taken to a higher level over the course of the 40 years that this has been something that's possible. And now we can do captive insurance companies in a way. I have clients who are doing captive insurance, even with 1,000 doors, which is fairly small. And so if you can put, if your insurance premiums are $500,000 to $1 million or more, this makes sense. And it's a great way to retain the money you put into insurance if you don't have claims. And so if your insurance premium is $1 million a year that you're paying to insurance companies right now, you could just pay that $1 million to your own insurance company. And then if you have claims, that money goes out, right? But if you don't have claims, then you can retain that money, you can invest that money additionally, and then you can start to grow the funds in its own space. One argument against that is it sounds terrible to have to create an insurance company for yourself. I don't need another job. I run a commercial real estate business, right? And, the way it's set up now is essentially you just pay money to someone else to do all of that. So the investment up front is, $60,000 to $100,000 to get it all done. You get that going, and then, someone else manages it, someone else does it. So I do that for a lot of clients. It's just one tool. We've been talking over this conversation about how insurance is a tool to manage risk. And there's different ways to do that. You can do that with a different insurance policy for every property. You can do that with a master policy like you're doing, Vinney. You can do that with a captive insurance company and reinsurance on top of that. You start to get really into the weeds of commercial insurance and why it's interesting. But the bottom line is you have to remember that it is a tool, just like just like a contract. Insurance is a tool, but just like a lawyer, you need a good advisor to make sure that that tool is working properly for your portfolio.
So true. Oh my gosh. In the Houston, I was paying 1.1 million, I think. When I did master policy, I saved almost 200,000 comes to my mind,
Yeah, that
But
seems right. Yeah.
I was actually mentioned, Vinny, you should do that. The self-captive, self-insured, maybe they said.
100%. Yeah, because you take on that $1 million of risk. And well, of course, Vinney, I'm happy to chat with you if you want to.
Yeah.
I can explain how that would work.
But it's not that much, 60,000 to set up and all, and then whatever the maintenance and all that. I'm into assisted senior living now, big times, and I'm building them from ground zero.
Yeah.
And it's in Florida, and there is a lot of insurance we are paying there. I know there is health insurance and other, because seniors are there, right? So maybe it's more costly, but we don't know. Yeah, we could kind of
assisted living on the traditional insurance path is going to be more expensive than just like a regular apartment.
Yeah,
and so that makes it even more important to potentially consider captive.
The captive insurance.
You can avoid sort of the insurance perspective on how to do it, and you can look at it yourself.
I would love to. Maybe after the show, I would love to talk to you and maybe give me some perspective we could bring to my team and my partner, So,
Yeah,
no,
absolutely.
Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really, really appreciate you, Jeremy. And how can people reach you? Yeah.
Absolutely. So if you're an apartment investor underwriting new deals, I have a tool at shineinsurance.com/ballpark. You just put the property in, answer 9 yes or no questions, and we'll give you a ballpark insurance price for that particular deal just in your email immediately. So it really helps with your pro forma, making sure that you have the right numbers as you're penciling a deal. So that's at shineinsurance.com/ballpark. And then you can find me at shineinsurance.com or on LinkedIn. My podcast is called Managing Commercial Real Estate Risk.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. No, Jeremy, thank you so much for coming on the show. And I hope everybody, you really got a lot of great nuggets, guys. Please share, give us 5-star reviews and give written reviews and everything so that we can bring some great guests on the show. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, brother.
Absolutely.
Sure. Wonderful.
Thank you again, for joining Vinney Chopra this week on this podcast. And please subscribe, share, give comments, and give 5-star rating if you can on iTunes, because that really helps a lot for us to bring great guests. And also iTunes raises our rankings up. And I hope you have been very happy with Vinney Chopra and team who are able to bring great information. If you'd like to invest with us, please go ahead and go to vinneychopra.com/invest. Thanks again. God bless you.